Welcome. So in this series of videos, we're going to look at web development from an absolute basics point of view. So in this lesson, we're just going to look at HTML, CSS, putting all of the folder structure together and just a few tags just to get you started. So here's the objectives. Once again, introduce you guys to HTML and CSS, the languages that build the web. The next thing we're going to look at is which text editor you should use to make your web pages. So for this, we're going to use a program called Notepad++. It's completely free for Windows machines, so you can use it at home. We're then going to look at setting up our file structures and then looking at using some of the following tags. So just a doc type, a head and a body, which need to be used on every single page that you build. And then we're going to look at some text tags like P, H1. So P is for paragraph, H1 is for a main header, H2 is for a subheader, and then H3, H4, and H5 and H6. And then if you want to do the extension tasks, you can use all of these tags to build a completely new page and fill it with your own text, maybe, you know, make something funny or whatever. So let's go on and let's have a little look at setting up our first ever web project. Structure is very, very important when you're creating a web project. So what I tend to do is say, right, let's set up the folder first. So if you come into your documents area, so if you click over here on your documents area, or this PC if you don't see it, and then head on over to your computing folder and create a new folder called Web Design Project. I'm putting mine on my desktop, but I obviously want you guys to put it in your documents folder. So once you've created a folder called Web Design Projects, double click on it and let's just populate this with something. So we need another folder. So if we right click and we say new and then folder, and I'm just going to call it images. This is where I'm going to house all of the images for my project. Now inside of this folder is where we're going to keep all of our HTML pages. HTML pages are just basically all of the elements that make up your web page structures, okay, or all of your individual pages. So now we have that, let's go and create our first web page. So we need to open up a program called Notepad++. So pop down here. So let me just go back, zoom out again. So pop down bottom left hand side where you see this Windows icon and go to your menu, scroll down to the end section and get your Notepad++. Now I've got mine here, which is one of my most used programs. So when you click on that, you'll probably get a load of messages. You can just cancel all those messages. You don't need them, or say no to them or whatever. You don't need them. So once we've got this, you need to know that Notepad++ is a tab-based system. So you can have as many pages as you want open. We're just going to open up one page for this project, for this lesson. So let's go to File and let's say Save As. Let's head on over to where we've just saved our folder. So if we click on this PC, and then you guys can go to your documents, I've got mine on my desktop, and then find the folder you've just created, so Web Design Project, and double click. So inside here you should see this images folder, and now you need to save your first ever HTML page, okay? So we're going to call this test1, and then the next bit's really important. You can say .html. If you don't put HTML in, or you spell HTML wrong, then it won't work, okay? That's really, really important. That .html tells your computer what kind of file this is. So you can also go to Save As Type and click on this one here that says Hypertext Markup Language. Either which way. Now press Save. Now if we head back on over to this folder, because I still had it open in the background, you'll notice that my test1 page is here inside of this web design project. This is really important. As you move forward, everything's going to need to be saved this way, okay, in this folder. So now if I double click on this and I head on over to my web browser, it will populate itself here. Let me just make sure I did that properly. Here we go. So I can close this tab and you'll notice it's a completely blank page. It says test1.html, but it's completely blank. We have nothing in there. Now, one thing I would definitely say to you guys is do what I've done here, where I've got my text editor, Notepad++ on the left-hand side, and I've got my Chrome browser on the right-hand side. This is going to make it really speedy, because every time you type something over here, you can just quickly press the refresh button and it will populate it and you can look at it, okay? So that's really going to be important. So I'd set your environment up like that right now. So the next thing that we need to look at then is creating our first tags. Now this next tag we're going to use in every single page. So firstly we need these brackets. So the brackets are right next to the M button. Let me just zoom in again so you can see what I'm doing. So the brackets are right next to the M button. And these are very stereotypical of HTML tags, okay? They all kind of look this way, and then we populate them. So the next thing is an exclamation mark. So we have this, and then it's doc type, all in uppercase. So the doc type is going to tell your computer and your web browser what kind of file this is. Okay, so we're saying exclamation mark doc type HTML. So when your browser opens it, it knows that this is the formatting, or this is the language that you're going to be writing in, and it understands what you're intending to do. So the next thing we need to do is just do HTML again, and then we need to do it one more time. But we need a closing tag here, HTML. So every tag you open, minus this first one, has to be closed with this backslash character, and this creates kind of like a container for everything to go into. Now the HTML tag, and that's what these are called, tags, is basically setting up a page. So if you press save or save all and then come back over to your page here and press refresh, you'll see that nothing happens, because the HTML encapsulates this whole browser from this area here all the way into this and what goes on in the background. Okay, so we need to kind of do some other stuff. So we need some more tags. Now the next tag that you're always going to write is going to be the head tag. Every web page that you write needs a head tag. Once again, you need to open and close the head tag. And this will be the same for all of your tags. Let's just do one more tag. So let's do a body tag. So this is kind of like your template for every single page you're ever going to make. And it gets kind of laborious that you have to type this every single time. So let me explain what we've done here. So we've got the HTML, which is basically the whole thing. Then we've got this head. Now the head doesn't happen on the page. It happens in the background. It happens on the top of this page up here. But it will never show on the page. It's kind of a processing thing. This head area is all about processing information. Then you have the body. Now inside the body, this is the page, okay? This is where the page stuff happens. So keep this in mind. These are these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines of code you will need for every single page that you build, okay? So when we come to the next lesson, I'll get you to redo this. So let's press save. Let's refresh the page. You'll notice that nothing happens still. We've still got an empty page. So let's populate something. Let's do the head first. So I want to use another tag called title. The title tag is just a little tag that we need, and I'll just show you. So let me just write something. This is a test. So remember, anything that's written inside of this H will not show up in this white canvas, okay? It won't show up there. So if I go back to my main page here and I press save, and I wonder if you can see where this is shown up. Now, for the more observant among you, you will notice that the title here has changed. So the title is an off-page character. It's this bit here. Let me just do something else. Let me say this is a test. Okay. And let's just refresh it. And let's just refresh the page again. You'll notice that anything I put up there, that's where it's going to be. This title kind of tells it. And this is a really good way for webs or people like Google or search engines to find your page and to understand what your page is. A title will tell it that, okay? So we now have the following. We have a doc type. We have the HTML, which is the whole thing. Then we have the head, which is off-site or off-page processing. A title, which populates up here. And then we have this body where we're going to give all of our information to. So when we start styling it, one thing I will say to you, in this lesson it will look very uninteresting. As we move forward we will style it more, but in this lesson we're just going to use some of the tags, get you guys used to doing that. If you haven't already done so, do all those tasks now, pause the video, and I'm going to put the text tags in when you get back. So here we go. So the next tag we're going to use is a title tag. So we want a H1. Okay, and remember, whenever you open a tag, you have to close it. Now, let's just say something. What should we call this? I don't know. my awesome page. There we go. Let's press save or save all. If you had multiple tags or multiple tabs, you could press the save all and it would make sure everything gets saved. Now, this is where the interesting stuff happens, because when I press refresh on this browser, and remember, it's all coming from this page here. So when I press refresh on the browser, it will populate itself. Another way of doing this is by pressing the run button, and you can say launch in Chrome. Now if I press the run button, launch in Chrome, it will open up a completely new tag, and that's absolutely fine if you want to run it the first time. That I would definitely recommend pressing the refresh button, otherwise you can have loads and loads of tabs open. So write your first H1 tag, call it whatever you want, be funny, be interesting, be amusing. Once you've done that, let's move on to the next one. Let's do a P tag. Now the P tag is our paragraph. So if we were writing a book, we'd have multiple P tags, wouldn't we? So we'd have loads and loads and loads, and we'd say, I don't know, I need some random text here. There we go. Loads of really good stuff here. So if I press save and then refresh it, voila, I have a paragraph. And you could write whatever you want there, and you could make it really interesting. You could write it about yourself. That would be cool. You could say, hey, I'm so cool and I've written this book about myself, and it's all in HTML. So the next thing you could do is have another P tag, or if maybe you're a writer, you might have your subtext first. So let's just do some more text. I'm sorry, this is a bit rubbish. Just to speed things up a little bit. Save your page, and there you go. Now you've got another one. So if you can write a paragraph for as long as you want, just as you would do in a book. You can have a long paragraph, and then you want to separate it with another one, and then in between that, you can say, right, let's have a H2 tag. So open and close your H2 tag, and then write your next title. So this is a subtitle, and then save the page, and then you can move on. So hopefully, what did I do there? There we go. Hopefully now you can see that these are all the tags you need. So your next mission, your extension task, is to create a page. Maybe write some paragraphs about yourself, write some subtext, write some headings, be as interesting as you want, spend a bit of time in making a nice little page and just reusing these. So see if you can use up to the H6 tag. Have a bit of fun with that. Remember that you have to open and close them. Remember, you do need the doc type, you do need the HTML, the head and the body. So if you notice with the body, if I close that, all of them paragraphs tags are inside the body. This is really important, because if you started putting text up here, it might show actually, but it's not really right. Yes, it does show, and it'll always be at the top, but it's not really right. It will cause all kinds of errors on different browsers. So make sure you have a body, you have an opening and a closing tag for everything you want to write. Give that a go, and I'll see you in the next video.